Smile, everybody's going to be on candid camera. I'm the man that does all the videos. I've got about around 600 on YouTube right now. We have something around 13,000 views. We've got one lady that's got 1,265 views on there already.
Jane.
That man's Ryan now. I just met him and he mows yards. I know what he does. And this lady here, I don't know who this lady is. She's a stranger here. Well, no, that's really my wife. And this is the sister. And she's Susie, right?
Yes.
Susie, is this your daughter then, or?
My daughter.
And her daughter's name is Leah.
Olivia. And this is Livy Lou.
What?
Livy Lou.
Livy Lou.
Yep.
You're not going to smile, are you? And what's this lady's name here?
This is Emily.
Emily, along with Ryan. And this is Robert. What relation are you, Robert, to the... What relation are you here?
My brother, Tommy, we're friends with Danny.
Friends with Danny. Okay.
Good friend of Danny.
Right. And you... Okay. And you are?
Jennifer.
And what's your relationship to the...
He's worked with him and I'm his father.
We moved from over here.
You're fine. You want to read them?
Yeah, a couple of plates. You might grab a plate for that too.
Robert and Jane work at Briggs and Stratton.
What's that?
Robert and Jane work at Briggs and Stratton.
Briggs Stratton. Oh. Robert and Jane. Jane is Danny's wife, and they work together at Briggs Stratton. This gentleman right here, Robert. Is that his name, Robert?
And Ryan works at Pasco Truck Lines.
Oh, I see. Okay. And this is one of the birthday boys. Maybe ask how old you are, sir?
61.
61, but I look younger because I take a lot of
I would never guess 61. I would have thought 45 or something.
Here's another birthday boy down here.
And there's a birthday boy down here. His name is Hobo Park.
Oh, come on, Hobo Park. It don't matter. I still have birthday parties, but I stopped having the years added in 39.
And 39. Okay.
39, I quit having.
And this is James. James Cole, I'll get right in a minute because I should know that because my wife's sister-in-law was a Cole. I told you about that one time, but you're not related. And this is...
This right here, don't forget her. This right here, don't
This one? How
Yes,
can
sir. Don't forget her.
How can we forget you, dear?
I've seen him push stop on that, dude.
And this is over here? Dwayne? Sandy? And what are your relationship to...
We're neighbors and we work together.
Neighbors and work together. Okay.
You work with Eddie. This is good.
Sit on this side. Back out a little bit.
I think I got your pictures. All right. But I don't know if I got your names. You are
I didn't give it to you.
Martha Moore.
Martha Moore and
Ray.
Ray. And what are your relationships to the? What is your relationship to Danny here?
He's my servant. He cuts my yard.
He's your servant. He cuts your yard. Okay.
They have your attention.
Dan's birthday is just about this time too, so we're jointly celebrating together.
Ready,
These two are birthday boys, so we're gonna sing happy birthday.
happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Granny. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, thank you.
Are we supposed to open our cards now? Are we opening our cards now?
Don't know.
My manager's got me one, I won't know what's in it.
I'm not in charge.
Are we opening gifts now?
We'll have
You hurry to give me my card.
Turn that around.
What did you get?
I got
$300.
$100 deal and check $200.
My good gracious, now that is some birthday party right there now, let me tell you.
Now, here's the
I'm not
other
gonna work.
birthday.
My hand hurts so bad, I can't get it back in there.
Dan, introduce yourself to everybody. Tell them a little bit about your music career.
Thank you, right now. I get that big Tony Hobo Park. I'm from Hobo Parks as well. I'm a keyboard artist. I've been so record for 7 years, and I'm with Epic now. We'll lose out this year. I'm 5 times radio son on Plantation label and 3 times on charts. So I'm fairly well on my way with music. But
Why do they call you Hobo?
well, I guess it's because I've been so many places in my life. Everybody's picked me up at depot cafes and railroad tracks, all my brothers years ago, and they started calling me Hobo. And I'm in Hobo. I rode a freight train for 17 years.
And
So I was out there hoboing around playing music. Everybody come to me, start calling me Hobo.
Right,
But
also,
when you make money like this, you better off just can't go to birthday parties. You know, my brothers keep having birthdays.
also you can,
And so now I'm working with Danny. We began last year, and it worked out very well for both of us. I work with him, and he works with me. We split work and stuff, and work together. And we're both pretty well talented in our work, so it works out well that way. You know, he knows how to take care of his end, and I know how to take care of my end, and we work together on that. So that's what I'm doing now. In waiting for my album this year, I'm going to be doing my blues album in October, and overseas. I go, they probably figure that I go all over the world, so it don't matter about it. I travel with maybe all over the world, not just in the United States.
and I'll tell the
It's good to
group,
be here though. It's a
I'll tell
birthday
the-
party with Dennis.
I'll tell the group here that you can go on the internet and type in his name, and a bunch of information will come up on his life and his music, and the reason he's called Hobo, because I did it a long time ago. I heard him and I just went to the internet. I was curious about who he was, and I just went in and typed in his name on the internet, and Love the Hope, there it all comes up. So go on the internet and find out about it.
I think after you make the charts, when you're driving, I think after you make the charts, internet can flag that up.
Right, sure they do.
Go with it. But it's okay. I don't have to hide from anybody because I don't try to mistreat anyone anyway.
And your name is what now?
George. Dave.
And how do you know this gentleman over here?
Who?
Danny. Danny. How do you know Danny?
Blues Club.
Blues Club. And how do you? And this is Jerry Boyd. Jack, he's a new man in our group, and you know him from knowing her, I guess, right?
He, can't you tell he's old?
Yeah, I'm old.
How long have you known her?
About the 90s.
Since the 90s? My goodness, that's a long
I'm not
time
that
ago.
old.
I don't know about that.
Several years. That's a good one.
44
And this,
years ago. No, never did. Yeah.
and this gentleman here, his name is what now? Courtney Walker.
Name Walker, yeah.
And how do you know Danny Robbins?
Through the Friday night music program.
Friday Night Blues Club, right? Okay, well, good to have you here.
Happy birthday, Danny.
Thank you. I'll say thank you for him, okay? So this is Danny Robinson, and we've been celebrating his 61st birthday here at Baldy's Restaurant in Murray, Kentucky. And today's date is August 24th, and I should know that because next Sunday, August 31st, is my birthday, my 80th birthday. But I understand that James is 61, and I would have took it more like for 41 than for 61. So James, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where were you born?
I was born in Dearborn, Michigan, the headquarters of the Ford Motor Car Company with Henry Ford there.
Right.
Had his mansion. My mother actually got a dime given to her by Henry Ford in the park one time.
My goodness, your mother did.
Yes.
Had a dime.
Yes,
Gave her
he
a
used to
dime.
give dimes out in the park there in,
Right.
in Dearborn, Michigan to
My
kids from
goodness.
time to time.
That's awfully interesting. And so you were born in Dearborn. And okay, what about your raising up, education, etc. from there then?
Well, I went through the 6th grade in Michigan. I went to 7th grade at a school called Faxon here in Callaway County. 8th grade, I was back up in Michigan, and I went to high school here in Callaway County, and I went to school at Murray State. I graduated a 4-year course in 3 years at the age of 20 by going to summer school. And right after that, I went out to the Northern Cheyenne Reservation in southeast Montana.
Okay, well, I've got some questions for you. First, what brought you or your family from Michigan to Kentucky?
Well, my father was from southern Illinois, his family in Harrisburg, just about 50 miles north of Paducah. And on my mother's side of the family, both her mother and father were from this area in Callaway County.
I see,
We had
okay.
a lot of relatives. We used to come down here in the 50s and 60s for vacations.
Okay. And what did you study in college? And you said you went to 3 years at Murray State, is that right?
Yes, I graduated a 4-year course in 3 years, age 20, and a double major in history and political science. I used to teach social studies on the Northern Cheyenne Reservation.
Okay, so how old were you when you graduated from Murray State? You said age of 20?
I was age 20, it was about
Age 20.
2 weeks before my 21st birthday.
Right.
I was 17 when I started and graduated when I was 20.
My goodness,
Summer school.
right. And you went to Cheyenne Reservation. Are you part Indian yourself?
On my great-grandparents' side, my mother's parents were Cherokee.
I see.
And they used to sell hot tamales in the square in Mayfield.
Oh, I see, okay. My wife was... My wife would be very interested in this because she belongs to a group that's called the Continental Society of the Daughters of Indian Wars. And in fact, we'll be going this September down to San Antonio, Texas at Alamo for one of our meetings. To be a member of that group, you can have a relative who either fought against the Indians or fought with the Indians or aided the Indians, or if you are an Indian. Which, by the way, I've got some connection to the Cherokees. My ex-wife, not this lady here, I was married before. My first wife, she had a connection to the Chickasaw Indians. Her grandmother, I believe, was full-blooded Chickasaw, which made my daughter, I think, 1/8, or something like that. But my daughter, very blonde and blue-eyed, has no Indian look whatsoever, you know. But and my wife was too, but her mother was very dark, and her grandmother, of course, was Indian. So my children are a little bit a mixture of a lot of different tribes in there. So. But anyway, one of these days I'll sit down and I'll tell you about me and my wife's travels to Oklahoma and the Cherokee places that we visited along the way. But this is really about you and not about me. And so you went to from Murray State, and you had a major history and sociology. And I can tell you about history because I won a history medal when I was 8th grade, so I can relate to that too. But anyway, from Murray, you went to where it is? Out to Wyoming or
Montana.
Montana.
Southeast, about 100 miles southeast of Billings, Montana.
Right, southeast of Billings.
And I was on the Northern Cheyenne Reservation. That's right next to the Crow Reservation.
I
The
see.
Crow Reservation diagonally is 100 miles across. They were the biggest allies with the whites going out west.
Right.
And in fact, when I drive to Billings, I pass Custer Battlefield on the way.
My goodness, that's all interesting. So that's what brings you back to Montana every so often or whatever?
Yes, I lived out there 7 out of 10 years. I worked at teaching school. I worked at a power plant, did a lot of painting with the Bureau of Indian Affairs, Indian Health Service, did a little firefighting. Used to play some music with some people out there.
Right.
And just go back and forth, have a little trailer out there.
Right.
You know, just known people since 1974. And I got acquainted with that area because I went out with a church group from First Baptist Church. I used to send young people out, high school and college age, to teach vacation Bible school on the Northern Cheyenne Reservation.
Okay, and of course it's your family being here that brings you back to here then. Now, every so often you get back to this area then.
I have a house I bought here in 1977.
I see, okay. So it's sort of going from here to Montana, but back to here again, back and forth, right?
Yeah, I call that Montana my second home. I spent 7 out of 10 years there, the longest time.
Right, I see, okay. And okay, now let's get down to what really brought us together, you and I, is that your birthday party here, I count about 30 people, or 35, maybe 40, come in and out. And they were friends, and some relatives, and some neighbors. And then we had a group of people here that were visitors from what we call the Friday Night Blues Singing at the Civic Center in Paris, Tennessee. And that's where you and I met, because I had never seen you before. And one night I saw your name on the board, Danny R. I was wondering, well, who is Danny R? Somebody pointed you out to me. And when it come time for you to sing, I put my video camera on you and got a couple of shots of you for my YouTube. And that's how you and I met.
Yes.
And so tell me then a little bit about how you got into music, when you started and how you started, and something along those lines.
My dad used to play guitar a lot at church when we lived in Detroit, and there'd be a bunch of musicians at the church get together, a large church called Temple Baptist Church in Detroit, Michigan. And I used to have piano lessons when I was real young, and also played the accordion when I was real young. In about 1970, my dad gave me a couple of guitar lessons on some chords, and that sounded pretty interesting. And then I thought, I want to learn some more songs, but I better start out with something simple. So I went to the public library and checked out some, I got a radio, a record player for Christmas. I think it was 1968. And I went to the public library in 1970 after my dad started giving me some lessons. I checked out some records of Johnny Cash and Hank Williams Jr., something with 3 chords, simple structure. That's how I started learning how to play guitar. And soon after that, then I started showing a few other people how to play guitar. And I always liked the 50s and 60s, old rock and roll, and some of the pop music from the 60s. And the older country and western, Patsy Cline, Johnny Cash, Hank Williams Jr. going back, Hank Williams going back to the early 50s, and maybe some Ray Price and stuff like that.
I don't know if you realize it, but Hank Williams Jr. lives in Paris. I guess you knew that, didn't you?
Yes.
And my son-in-law built his houses for him. My son-in-law and my daughter own the Isle of Pit in Paris. That's a restaurant in Paris. But my son-in-law pretty much made a career of remodeling and building houses for Hank Williams Jr. for about 3 or 4 years there. So that's how we know Hank Williams Jr. And of course, I could tell you about meeting Carl Mann and all that, but that's another long story. But so you learned to play and everything. Did you pick up to sing about the same time, or did you want to sing a lot earlier, or what?
Well, when I was really young, and my dad would play guitar when I was very young, and they'd want me to play like Mansion Over the Hilltop, or some different songs. I played a few Christian songs, gospel songs, and my dad would play the guitar, so they sort of prompted me to sing as a lot of parents would with your young children.
Right, sure.
Or something. That's how I sort of got started. And plus, I was taking piano lessons when I was young and trying to sing along with that. I used to sing a little bit in the choir at First Baptist Church here in Murray in the 70s and 80s. Some in the 70s and some in the later 80s.
Okay, so you started singing, and of course, when you picked up the guitar, you just put both together. When did you pick up songwriting yourself? Trying to write songs?
I was with a friend of mine, Tommy Duke, who was out here at my birthday party, and another man called B.J. Hoskins, who played drums and guitar. And we started just having a garage band, you might say. We started writing some gospel songs because we were asked to perform at the youth center here in Murray. Murray Youth Center, right? They were sort of leading us more toward singing gospel songs, and so I started writing a lot. I'd write about half of them. My friend B.J. Hoskins would write the other half. That got me started, and then some of the stuff I play down in Paris is stuff I wrote maybe in the 90s, and then just more recently.
So how long ago did you write your first song, or can you remember how long, or what year it was that you did your first song?
Oh, I don't remember. It's been a while back. I'd say early 90s.
Early 90s. Okay, almost 20 years ago then.
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever tried to have any of your songs published by anybody?
No, but Hobo Parks said that he could show me how I could get some copyright. He's encouraging me to copyright some songs. He's going to get me going on that trail here real soon.
I should tell you that I had an aunt. I have an aunt who is known as Tennessee Lil, and I've got a couple of records at the house that she made. This is like back in the 1970s, 1980s, but she was never successful at them. But I've always wanted to find somebody that could do it. There was a man in Paris for a while. I don't know if he's still there or not, but his name is Jimmy Stewart, just like the Jimmy Stewart of the movies. His name is Jimmy Stewart. But he did some, I think, some gospel songwriting and helped other gospel writers. And at one time he had a place in Camden. He was going to have downtown, he was going to have a music studio, you know how people come there and write and stuff. And actually he's from, I think, from the Paris area, and every now and then you'll see his name in the paper. He's going to be like the Moose Lodge or something. And I'd like to meet him. I know some people that do know him. And I think that my son said that he thinks he was with a local band, some kind of a rock and roll band or blues band many years ago. And I'd like to contact him and just show him these songs that my aunt had left behind. And my aunt met her second husband in jail. She had a jail ministry, and she met him in jail where he was incarcerated as a prisoner. And she wrote a song about him, you know, and how he got to jail, you know, what happened to him. And it's understood that there was some kind of killing or something in the process. But she since has died, and that's another long story. Mine about my mother and my aunts and all that stuff. anyway, we want to concentrate on you and not on me, as I said before. So, so you got these songs, and you think Hobo Parks can help you maybe find a publisher or something, or get them copyrighted. I know a little bit about copywriting. You can probably find out about it if you go on the internet too. Just type in copyright, and all your stuff will come up, and it'll show you where to write to a place in Washington D.C. Get your materials. But really, about they say the minute that you write something or sing something, it's yours. You know, regardless of these stories about people trying to steal stuff. Although you might have heard of Carl Mann. He's the man who made the fast version of Mona Lisa famous. And do you know where that was made famous at? Started at right down here on the state line at Hazel. Some of the MSU students were down there one night. Carl had a little band down there, and he was singing the slow version of Mona Lisa. You know, the old Nat King Cole. You know, Mona Lisa, Mona Lisa. But anyway, these students were down there, and one night they said, "Carl, can't you sort of speed it up a little bit, you know?" And Carl said, "You want it fast?" He said, "Well, how about this?" And they started, "Oh, Mona Lisa, been out named you." And he almost lost it to another man, but somebody told him, said, "Carl, you better get that to Memphis before these other people get it." Well, he went to Sun Records, where, you know, Elvis and Johnny Cash and all those went to, and he became the youngest person at Sun Records to have 1 million record sales on that song, the very fast version of Mona Lisa, and he was 17 years old. I've got him on a tape, and I'll bring him to you sometime, give you that. In fact, he and I sang "I'll Fly Away" together a couple of times, and that's another story of how I met Carl Mann. But anyway, so yeah, you need to get your stuff copyrighted. And do you have any estimation of the number of songs that you might have written?
The ones I wrote to play down in Paris, the ones a little before that, I probably got maybe 11, 12, 13.
Right.
I'd say I wrote 3 or 4 before I went on my summer vacation.
I see, okay.
3 or 4 when I came back,
Okay.
so I'm in a little creative mode. Maybe it's just being around with fellow musicians down
So
there.
it's really just recently then that you really got feeling that you should start writing again.
I'd
right?
say about 2/3 of the songs that I've got right now came just recently.
Just recently, okay.
Other than when I played at the youth center, some of the gospel pop
Right.
songs.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that my wife's out of the car. She'll get ready to go, and hopefully I'll come back out. But anyway, this is not the last. We're going to do this some other time a little bit. And one of these days, without the camera, I'll tell you my story. Okay? Thanks, Danny, and happy 61st birthday to you.
Thanks for coming up for my birthday today.